Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I am really excited to dig down into today's episode. I am officially back from Youpreneur. Woo woo! Super excited. I have lost my voice. I actually spent the first 2 days of this week with a completely, I don't know what to describe it as, some kind of cackle, but a voice instead of laugh. So I spent the entire weekend talking to some really interesting people, and I am sat here currently in my pajamas with my hot water, honey and lemon to make it through this episode, because I think it's really important to get the Youpreneur roundup and all the exciting things that happened there, all the goss for you on the week that it's actually relevant, rather than in 2 or 3 months' time, which is always really awkward because people are like, oh, yeah, how did that go? And it's a lot less interesting when it's happened, 3 months later. So this weekend, I went to what I would call the biggest business event of the year in the UK, for sure. Youpreneur Summit, run by the amazing Chris Ducker, and spent the weekend in Westminster in the QE2 Conference Centre, which, by the way, incredible venue, amazing staff, really awesome to have an event in, and about 400 other people, which was incredible. The amount of people that I got to meet, the amount of you guys who listened to the podcast who also came, which I was really excited about, and came up to give me a hug, to say hi, to let me know that you're a poddie, was just phenomenal. So I got to spend the weekend with my dotties, so my private members, my poddies, you guys, and a bunch of other people that I didn't know who all were ambitious business owners. Not to mention that, but I was also lucky enough to go to the speakers dinner, and I want to share all the behind the scenes news with you about that as well, and spend the weekend genuinely with some incredibly talented business owners. So let's dig in. What did I really learn from Youpreneur? What is the point in going to an event, and should it be something that is on your radar for 2019? So obviously I got invited to Youpreneur, and I'm gonna throw this out there. I was one of the least well-known speakers on the stage this year. And actually that really motivated me for 2 reasons. One, the event and that single fact for me solidified that I don't want to be a best kept secret in 2019. So the last 4 years of building my business, something that I've been super proud of is that I work with people, and generally people find me after they've been burnt a few times. And then suddenly I become the person that they're like, I have to refer you to everybody. And that is amazing. I appreciate every referral. I appreciate everyone who shares a podcast episode or a blog or an email or anything. Know that whenever you do that, I'm like happy dancing and whooping in the background. But one of the things that had come to my attention was that I was kind of still playing small. I was still this best kept secret. And actually somebody came up to me at Youpreneur after I did my talk and went, oh my God, I have never heard of you, but you were phenomenal. And you were my speaker of the weekend. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. And it was really nice. And I did the whole requisite being very humble about it and doing all those kinds of things. Because it's always a little bit uncomfortable when people give you compliments. You're like, right. If you just go, yeah, I'm amazing, it can feel really awkward. So I tend to be a bit like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm really glad you liked it. If you have any critical feedback, please share, because feedback is useful. Constructive feedback is always also useful. But anyway, it solidified for me that 2019 is going to be the year that I am no longer the best kept secret, and that in fact it will be the year that I'm the person who people think of when they immediately think of sales. And you might be sat there listening thinking, yeah, but Jess, you've got, your business makes a ton of money, and it does. And, you've got an amazing community. And I do. I would say that out of every single speaker, and again, just going to throw it out there, of every single speaker on the stage, my community were the loudest, were the proudest, and were the most awesome, because they were just friggin' phenomenal. And they spent the whole weekend, really, really boosting each other's confidence, giving really good masterminding ideas, but also cheering epically loud when I went on stage, which was absolutely 1000% appreciated. And it was very, very cool. So that's where I want to go. And that's what Youpreneur for me really solidified, is that I don't want to be this best kept secret. Instead, I want to be out. I want to be loud and proud and excited about the business direction that I'm taking in 2019. And so that was my key takeaway from the whole weekend. All right. I'm going to get it out nice and early in the first 5 minutes, because that's really what people kind of want to know. And then you want to know all about the gossip that happened. And for me, that was really, really important. And I know that there were a lot of people who also came to Youpreneur who left feeling similarly, and feeling like, actually, I am tired of being the one that is always the final person that people pick. And I want to be the first name on everybody's lips. So if you felt like that, yay, come join my personal Youpreneur accountability club, which is basically just me. And every day I'm just going to check in on how I'm doing with this. But if you want to join that, let me know, and we'll do it together. We'll make a thing for 2019. The second thing was that I got to be part of the speaker's dinner. And as the least well-known person, or one of the least well-known people in that room, amongst the likes of Jay Bayer, amongst the likes of Carrie Wilkerson, Jada Selner, and a lot of other incredible people, it was actually phenomenal. I was the stupidest person in the room, and I really enjoyed it. And I have to say this because I know that so many people say, oh, Jess, I go to send you an email and then I kind of worry about it. Or I know that sometimes people feel like they can't always approach somebody who they perceive to be at a higher level in their business. What I can say is that I went to that speaker dinner, and that, there were only a couple of people I knew. I knew Andrew and Pete. I'd spoken with them at events before, and I knew Luria Petrucci and a couple of others. But what I can say is that people actually just value you being interested in them. So I went to this speaker dinner, and we played this game that was very redolent of high school. So if you've ever played one of those icebreaker games where you all have to introduce each other and you introduce the person that you know the best, incredibly awkward. And I'm going to own this. And I did when we were at the dinner. I was like, look, I am the person that nobody's going to know, because Andrew and Pete could introduce each other, and because obviously they know each other really, really well, and all this kind of thing. And I'm relatively new to the international speaker circuit. So guess who got to introduce me? Jay Bayer. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I loved being lost, because I was like, oh my God, Jay Bayer is going to intro me. And he said all of these wonderful things, which he didn't know to be true or not, but it was really lovely anyway. And he was such a nice guy. He did this incredible intro. And for me, going to that speaker dinner and getting to meet them and getting to ask people who were my heroes, people that I'd been following for an awful long time, questions about their business and about what it was like to be an internationally famed speaker, and questions even about how I could do the same, was so valuable. And people were so willing to share. And, I'm always really transparent with you guys. I think, from a financial perspective, my business has done incredibly well in a super short space of time, but I love to learn. And I'm never, ever shy about asking questions. I'm never, ever shy about wanting to be the dumbest person in the room, because I love soaking up what other people have in terms of wisdom and in terms of knowledge. So for me, it was amazing to be surrounded by these incredible people and just learn from their experiences and hear what they were really about, and actually see behind the scenes whether they were the same in real life as they were portraying online. And that was really interesting for me. And the majority of people were 100% the exact same in real life as they were online. And for me, that meant an awful lot. Okay. It was one of those moments where I was like, oh my God, people do have integrity, and this is nice. And especially when you do have people that you've followed for a long time, it can be really disconcerting if you meet them and then you think, oh, actually, did I like them? Were they my favorite? Awkward. So for me, this was super, super powerful. And me, Andrew, and Pete were the last men man/woman standing at the speaker dinner. We finished about 11:30 and incidentally got lost trying to get out of the restaurant. So if you did see us stumbling around in the Blue Boar restaurant in Westminster, we just didn't know where the door was. We couldn't find it. And it sounds really stupid because everyone's like, well, it's the door you came in from. But we went to that door and it was shut. So just to let you know, they are super tricksters over there. But anyway, so we did the speakers dinner on the Friday night. That was awesome. I got up incredibly early on the Saturday morning. I actually did not sleep well at all on the Friday night. It was nothing to do with the Premier Inn where I was staying. They were phenomenal. But I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I think I was just excited. I was really excited for Youpreneur to start. It's kind of like being a kid on Christmas Eve. And because I was so excited, I woke up at 3:19 and just started watching Netflix. So by the time that 6:30 rolled around and I had to be up because I had an amazing hair and makeup artist called Maylis who came over in the morning to do my hair and makeup. She was recommended by one of my awesome clients, Teresa Walton. I was ready. I was like, woohoo, Youpreneur's here. Let's just get the hair and makeup done. Let's go. So she came around. She did a phenomenal job. I've popped some photos on Instagram for those of you who want to go and see how amazing she made my cheekbones look. And I am going to own that. She made my cheekbones look phenomenal. So she came over at 7 a.m. We did that. It took her 1:10. She's a miracle worker to do both hair and makeup. And then I set off to the QE2 for my first look at the Youpreneur Summit in full groove. And it was super, super exciting. I got there 8:15 in the morning and tons of people were already there. They were already looking forward to grabbing their seats. They were already excited about seeing Chris Ducker. They were already excited about seeing speakers. I had so many people come up to me and being like, oh my God, I can't believe that you're speaking today. It's so exciting. And it was just a phenomenal atmosphere. Now, Chris always opens the Youpreneur Summit with a really cool video, and this year did not disappoint. He included some of the key people throughout the weekend, and I think he's going to put it on social media, so I'm not going to ruin the surprise for you guys. But he had an epic video that had all of the good things required from a short film: thrilling pieces, action, adventure, and of course, Chris Ducker in his bedroom. I'm not going to say any more than that. So we went through, there were some incredible speakers. We started day one with the keynote from Carrie Wilkerson, who was she was just lovely. She was Southern Belle, typical Southern Belle, very petite, very lovely, had a phenomenal keynote all around what you really need mindset wise to set your business up for success and what you really need to take forward in that. And I thought it was awesome. It was really, really good way to start the weekend. We had some Facebook Live chat from Loria Petrucci, all about live streaming, which was again awesome. And then it was my turn to hit the stage, and that was terrifying. So I went up into the little AV room and I said, hey, look, I know everyone else has had this really nice music, but I kind of like some gangster rap or, something with a bit of a beat, just so I can get my steps in time. I was actually very, very worried about walking up the steps to the stage in my Christian Louboutin heels. I did not fall flat on my face, so that was a win. And then I did my talk for Youpreneur. And I'm actually going to do a podcast episode on the talk itself. I'm not going to obviously repeat the talk because that'd be very boring. But I'm going to do an episode on what was actually covered there and why it was so important and the key takeaways or learns from me over the years that I'd put together for that particular talk. But I did the talk and it was such a phenomenal experience. And I'm not somebody who ever really wanted to be a public speaker. And I think that's something that's super, super key to mention, is that when I came out of corporate, I wasn't really looking for speaking gigs. I was really content to sit at home. I was really content to kind of sit in my PJs and work with amazing people from across the world. And I'd never really thought about speaking. And when 2018 hit, I was asked to speak at 6 events this year. And every single one of them has been absolutely incredible in different ways. I've spoken at some really big events like Youpreneur. I've spoken at some really intimate events. I've spoken at my own event, which was the first time I'd held an event for this year. And the thing for me that came up was I want to do more of this. I really enjoy going to events. I really enjoy speaking. And it just reminded me that sometimes our plans can change. Our businesses can change and shift and evolve, and we have to listen to that change. And I think, again, one of the things that came up for most people at Youpreneur who were coming up to me and saying, loved your talk. Here is my particular issue with sales right now. It was a lot around, I'm not sure that I actually like what I'm selling anymore. And how can I sell it better? And to all of those people, I said, look, if you don't enjoy it, if you're not passionate about it, it's 10 times harder to sell. So why not accept that your business has changed, that it has shifted, that it has evolved, and start moving forward in the direction that you want to take, and start really thinking about what actually lights me up about my business. What makes me happy? What are the clients that I most enjoy working with? Or who are the clients that I most enjoy working with? And why is that? What are we working on together? How did I find those clients? How can I do more of that? And for me, this was the theme that kept coming up over the weekend was, what are the bits in my business am I enjoying? Where am I finding the clients that I love the most? Which clients is it that I actually, love working with and, completely fall in love with right at the very first session? And which clients do I think, oh, actually, I'd have really loved it if we could have had a better connection? And why is that? Is that because they're working on automation most of the time? Is it because I'm not directly involved with them? Is it because, there are certain people who perhaps don't put in the same effort and energy as my, I'm going to say, rule breakers and my change makers, And for me, it was really valuable to spend that time not only speaking on the stage and posing some of these questions around selling and around, are we being really passionate? Are we pitching in the right way? Are we really listening to our audience wants? But actually thinking about it in perspective of my own business. Am I enjoying it? What else would I like to add? What would I like to remove? What makes me happy? What doesn't? And starting to think about some of the changes that I'm going to be making in 2019. And that's the power of going to these kinds of events, because I got to sit there on the speaker's table and I was talking to all the speakers at the dinner and in the breaks, and I was listening to them on stage, and I was getting to take away all of this amazing info and starting to think about how I could tailor it to my business, to where I see my business going in the next year, in the next 3 years, and so on. So if you've been to Youpreneur, if you've been to any event, you'll also know that you have these feelings. You come back and in the first week, you're so fired up. In the second week, you're still fired up, but you're a little bit like, ah. And then in the third week, life takes over and you go from there. And sometimes it can be really hard to implement everything that you've learned from the event. And what I would say to that is, when you're at these events, tailor them for you. Rather than looking at it and going, oh, wow, here's how that person set up this amazing podcast, or here's how that person set up this amazing YouTube channel, I should go and do that. Look at, okay, they've got an amazing podcast. Do I want a podcast? If I don't, how could I apply this information? How could I apply this knowledge to my pre-existing marketing platform that I enjoy already? How could I double down and focus on that particular element? Because otherwise we get so caught up in all of these ideas. And I was completely guilty. I walked away from Youpreneur. I had like thousands of pages of notes. And I was like, oh my God, I can set up a YouTube channel and I can do this and I can do that and da da da. And then when I sat down with it on Monday and I actually thought about what I wanted, I was like, oh yeah, I can't do all of these things. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the bandwidth to do it. And actually for me, what I've learned from going last year, from going this year, from speaking on the stage, from listening to all the people that I've been with, is that it's about tailoring this information, this knowledge, this perspective to what I really want to focus on. So there are a few areas of my business that I'm going to be completely changing up for 2019. And there are going to be a few things that you see that are going to be completely different. I'm going to be making some changes, even here on the podcast. I'm going to be doing some more exciting things. But it's about tailoring that info for you. And I want you to think about that. If you're somebody who, even if you haven't been to an event recently, even if you're thinking, yeah, but Jess, I've just watched 20 webinars and, I've consumed a bunch of Facebook Lives and I'm in 2,000 Facebook groups. I want you to really think about, are you consuming information that you can implement? Are you tailoring it for you? Are you looking at how you can apply it to your own business? Or are you simply consuming tons and tons and tons of information and feeling kind of like a failure because you can't implement it all the time? Because you can't be on 1,000 social media platforms at once, because you can't physically keep up with all of the content creation, because you can't decide what you actually really want to do, because you want to work with all the clients just in case you miss out on the one that's going to make you the millions. And that's what I came away with, was this idea of, actually, what do I want? And I do this probably every 6 months. I think about my business. I think about where it's going. Do I like it? Am I happy? But for me, Youpreneur is a great time to do it, because it comes at the beginning of November. It's a really good time to start planning for 2019. And it was surprising to me, the things that I wanted to dial down on, the things that really I wanted to laser focus on in 2019, and the things that I was just like, nah, I can give those up. I'm not bothered. Okay. So I really do want you to think about that, whether you've been to the event, whether you've been to an event, or whether you are consuming information online or in some other capacity. Are you actually doing anything with it? Are you tailoring it to you? Are you making it work for you? Or are you just looking at, crap, what else can I add to my already incredibly full plate? And if it is the second option, please change that, because honestly, you won't end up implementing anything to a successful level, and then you'll just beat yourself up for another year. So let's avoid that. Now, I do also want to put out there that my favorite talk of the event, my favorite talk of the whole event, was Jay Bayer. I had been so excited to see Jay, and I was so nervous and excited, because I was like, oh my God, he's going to be amazing. And then, oh my God, what if it's not like it is on the screen? And it did not disappoint. He talked about talk triggers, which are basically the ways that you can get your audience to market for you, rather than you having to do it all yourself all of the time. And it was a phenomenal talk. If you haven't bought the book yet, please do. It's called Talk Triggers. It's out now. It has 2 alpacas on the front cover, just in case you're looking on Amazon. And it's absolutely incredible. I spent my Tuesday afternoon reading it. I ordered it on Sunday on the train home. I received it and read it on the Tuesday, and I'm implementing talk triggers in my business as we speak. So if you notice any over the next few weeks, feel free to give me a shout and be like, I saw that. I saw your talk trigger, and I raise you mine. But his talk was phenomenal. He was an incredible presence on the stage, and he was a genuinely nice person. And in fact, after I'd done my talk and I was on that post-talk high of, oh my God, I can't believe I did it and I didn't fall over and people actually clapped, which I get every time I speak and every single webinar that I do and every single public thing that I do where people engage or respond in some way. He came up to me and he said, in his very deep American voice, which I cannot emulate, he was like, great talk, Jess. That was so good. And it was so interesting. And I was like, oh my God, Jay Bear knows my name and thought I was interesting and thought my talk was good. And it was this really great moment, because sometimes I say this to people all the time, like, you don't need other people's validation. And I don't need other people to validate me. I'm perfectly confident and happy in my own little world. And, I'm very proud of what I've created, but I want to be validated sometimes. And I really, really wanted Jay Bayer to think that my talk was good. And so when he did, it was just really cool. And it was really, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's something that I can't put into words, but it was just one of those moments in life where I was like, oh, that's genuinely really awesome. And I'm on cloud 9, and there is nothing in this moment that can take me down. And it was just a really nice moment, and I was just like awe-inspired. And so I listened to his talk, and I was, over the moon that he was talking about talk triggers. And I was watching what he was doing at the conference and after the conference. And one of the things that was, I thought, really impressive was that when people were complimenting his talk on Twitter, he responded to everybody. No comment left untouched, right? He even recorded a few personal videos for people, including me, which I was, again, thrilled by, to say that he'd enjoyed meeting us and to give just little snippets of what he thought of the way that we'd shown up at the conference and been. And for me, that was something that was lovely. It was something that I really valued. And it has made me a die-hard Jay Bayer fan for life, like I wasn't already. But it has really solidified that connection with him that I feel that I'm like, oh, wow, I'm really tied into him. I really like his marketing methods. I really like what he stands for. I really like who he is as a person. And again, it was something that threw it into light for me was how am I doing that in my business? And that's the question that I would pose to you today. How are you doing that in your business? How are you solidifying that relationship with your audience? How are you really connecting with them? How are you committing to making sure they feel valued and heard and seen every day? It's just a really interesting concept to think about, and it really will take your business in a whole new direction. So I definitely encourage you to have a think about that, because it is really valuable. And then finally, the best part of my weekend. So, I got to talk to Chris Ducker, I got to be introduced by Jay Bayer. He thought my talk was great. I got to have a really nice chat with Carrie Wilkerson. A bunch of people complimented my Karen Millen dress, which was amazing, by the way. Karen Millen, you are the bomb. But the best part of the weekend for me was sitting in my jeans on Saturday night with my dotties from my private membership community. We got Deliveroo to the hotel. We ate a lot of other people ate Chinese food. Personally, I went for burgers because burgers is, that's just my thing. And it was just great to spend time with my community, to spend time with these people outside of conferences, outside of events that we sometimes go to, outside of hot seats and Q&As and all that kind of thing, and just have a really nice evening, have a good chinwag, talk about businesses, talk about goals with people who get it. So I was there with them. We had this, like I say, we had a takeaway meal. It's great. I gave out some awesome, designed by the lovely Liz, 2019 sales planners, which are designed to help you hit your sales goals. So every dottie that came to Youpreneur got one of these sales wall planners to stick on their wall for 2019. They are out now. They are on the website. You can go and see what they're like, and you can grab one for yourself if you're looking to keep yourself on track in 2019 for your sales goals. But it was just great. It was good to really connect with my community, spend some extra time with them, be able to be there for some of the things they were experiencing over the weekend and support them through different shifts and changes alongside the other amazing people who had attended the conference as well. And that was the same theme throughout the whole event. Even the times where I wasn't with my membership community, meeting other people who were ambitious, who were driven, who had similar goals, who were looking to learn, who were excited and passionate about their businesses. It was like being surrounded by my peeps. And I just loved it, and that for me is one of those things. Being an entrepreneur can be super isolating, and it can be really difficult to remember why we do this, or who is actually around and who is available to support us. It can be really difficult. Your people are there. They are out there. There are people who are just as eccentric, just as funny, just as ambitious, just as driven, just as passionate as you. And you can find them, whether that's in a Facebook group, whether that's at an event, whether it's on a webinar, whether it's on a Twitter chat, it doesn't matter. Your people are there, and you must connect with them, and you must find them, because they are going to make your business experience phenomenal. So that's my brief roundup of Youpreneur. That's exactly what I experienced over the weekend. Like I say, I'm going to do a couple of episodes to go into a bit of detail about my talk and about some of the things that I'm going to be changing in 2019. Woo! Very excited. There's some really, really cool stuff coming to the podcast, which is going to be phenomenal. And I'm going to make some of those announcements next week. Meanwhile, if you have not listened to all of the episodes from the 6-Figure Success series, please do. It's been a phenomenal series with Mariah Cos, Denise Duffield Thomas, Ashley Amberjay, Suzanne Dibble, Joanna Penn, Neil Patel, and we have this week coming up on the podcast, Dave Woodward from ClickFunnels. We have John Lee Dumas coming up as well, and we have Amy Landino. Not to mention all the amazing guests that I have already signed up for January 2019. So keep your eyes and ears peeled if you want to continue seeing the real behind the scenes success stories that we see broadcast on the internet every day, but perhaps we don't always get to talk about. I will see you in Friday's episode. I cannot wait. It's another fabulous guest. So please make sure you're there with your eyes, with your ears. And if you do want to get in touch, you know where I am. Facebook group, or just email me, jessica@jessicalorimer.com. Have a wonderful week.